Welcome back to Cyberology, Dakota State's podcast for all things cyber and technology. I'm Jen Burris.
And I'm Lily Albers.
And today we are welcoming back a returning guest, the Dean of the Governor's Cyber Academy, Fenecia Homan. Welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be back here again.
Yeah, so why don't you start off by kind of giving us an update on how the first year of programming went?
I can't believe it's through the first year already. I think I was sitting here a year ago and we had all these ideas. And so I would say the first year as a whole really surpassed expectations in terms of our participation numbers, in terms of the reception that we got from students and stakeholders across the state. And so really excited about the statewide impact we were able to have just in this first year and excited to continue to build on that.
And do you want to just give us a little refresher on what all you do in the Governor's Cyber
so
Academy?
our taglines, the elevator pitch is to expand awareness and access to cyber careers and education pathways for our students throughout the state of South Dakota. And so originally we were really focusing on the dual enrollment piece, and we still are. That's still the priority there. But realizing to get to that, we also need to really be intentional about our K-12 enrichment opportunities as well as our educator development pieces. And so really those three pieces now with dual credit, K-12 enrichment, and teacher development is where we're putting our focus.
Excellent.
You got a lot going on.
Sometimes, yeah. June's been a little busy with camps, but it's been a ton of fun to have students on campus and just get to interact with them and build off of their excitement and energy. It makes it all worth it.
Yeah. How many students do you think were there this year?
This, from the dual credit piece, I've been working on an annual report here, and so I have the number handy. We had 93 unique students take at least one dual credit course through the Cyber Academy from fall, spring, and summer this year. And they represented 46 school districts from across the state. So
wow.
It's pretty cool to even see on the map from down in Dakota Valley to up in our northeast corner, as well as plenty up and down the southeast, our north and southeast corridor, and then out on West River on the West River side of the state as well. So I was surprised by that. I thought it would take a while for it to really grow statewide, but we were able to have a lot of impact so far. And then from that, when we talk about the dual credit students, of those students, 8 of them have already earned at least one cyber badge. And so one student has earned 3 of them. So we are promoting those badges and how they can select courses and really demonstrate specific skill sets. And so we were able to award those just last week.
Can you talk a little bit more about the badges and what goes into earning them and some of the fun, exciting stuff? So
we wanted to figure out how we have the whole slate of courses, but that's not always attainable for students to take that many dual credits, and they don't necessarily need to, but how can they really be exposed to some of these different concepts? And so we've packaged out, we have 6 badges available, and they are each 9 credits each, or 3 courses. And so really with computer science fundamentals or cyber operations fundamentals or network security fundamentals. And so as students successfully earn a C or higher in the 3 classes that make up that badge, then we award them this digital credential that will also show up on their transcript and they can use that to show or share via social media or on their resume as they're working to earn an entry-level position.
Very cool. So what kind of feedback have you gotten from these students
year? I was just visiting with one of our students who's here for a cyber espionage camp right now. And I asked him, I was like, I'm going to go talk on this podcast. Like, what kind of feedback? And they shared plenty, but I wanted to just have something real fresh in my mind. And the thing that hit me most from his response was he said, I wouldn't have any access to this if it wasn't for the Cyber Academy. My school is small, which he loves, but they don't have the ability to offer these computer and cyber science courses or the depth that we're able to offer for the Cyber Academy. So I feel like they're really appreciative of the access that they have to just figure out, is it something they're interested in, something they want to learn more? Is it something that could be a full-time career, or is it something that will inform whatever career they go into? They've also been really appreciative. The faculty have been great about the instructors on those courses, about providing support and feedback, as well as with our Academy student mentor and the tutors that have been involved. So they haven't felt like they're just out on their own. They felt like they've belonged and they've had the resources and the support that they've needed.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I grew up in North Dakota, but I also attended a very small school, and I had no idea this kind of stuff existed. So I do think that outreach to those smaller districts is really important.
Yeah, that keeps me motivated as well. As my first teaching experience was at those rural schools, and knowing that, the phenomenal experience that they have there, but this can just expand what they're able to learn about.
Dang. There's really a lot out there. I mean, I went to a big school, but even going to that big school until you get in the know from somebody coming to that school, I don't think I would either ever have an idea like that.
Lots of opportunities. So that's been a challenge to really build awareness of what we can offer through the Cyber Academy when there are several initiatives out there, but they're in different career fields.
Right. Yeah.
Excellent. So I noticed that you brought some cards with you, and I'm really excited that you did because I was going to email you and ask you to, and I totally forgot.
Yeah.
So made my day when I saw you walk in. So can you tell us a little bit about those playing cards and who we have featured on them?
Yeah, so we stole this idea of it from some of our partner institutions across the country that we saw. They were creating trading cards when they'd have guest speakers for an event or something, and we're like, hey, a lot of our folks like some card games, and especially in the Beacom College, and so it's like we could have our own trading cards. And so it was really fun to partner with some students from digital arts and design as well as the animation program to design these cards. And they're of any faculty or staff member that's associated with the Cyber Academy or K-12 initiatives. They had the ability to submit a photo as well as a cyber power and a fun fact. And so that's our first version of them. We have 20 cards that are out there right now. And we got those designed and out 2 weeks ago for the Gen Cyber Co-ed high school camp. And we didn't really get to the point yet where there's a game associated with them, but we gave everyone their own card that had one and said, you can figure out how you want students to either earn them or get them. And the reception, it was so fun. These kids just had a really great time figuring out, or asking around because they didn't necessarily know who had them or who didn't. And it was a fun way to get them to engage with each other and to engage with the faculty and the staff. And so from that, we have lots of ideas how to continue this with next versions or, how they could earn them, or I think like some different token cards if they complete a kind of a skill set or something like that. So it was a fun to get this first set out there and then just kind of build on the nerdiness of it all. It's,
That's cool.
Who doesn't want a trading card, I guess.
Do they have like stats on them too? I mean, when you say trading card, I just think of like
that's what
cards,
we need to add to
baseball,
stats.
yeah.
Yep. So we need to add stats. Right now they have a cyber power and a fun fact, but we've talked about even when we think about if it's the different cybersecurity, like the CIA triad or something like that, if we give a little rating bar on there or some different pieces like that. And then there was folks that just missed the call or the invitation to participate. So we want to get them included next time. And,
For sure.
And it's not an exclusive. It is exclusive, but we want to be inclusive as far as who can participate.
Yeah.
So this is a loaded question. Do you have a favorite trading card?
Well, I have Mark Spanier on top right here just because he's got the dinosaur shirt on. So I think that was a fun one because it captured.
Was that a
It wouldn't
request that went in when you did the trading card?
I did
Mark?
specifically. Well, he didn't even submit his own picture. I took it with the dinosaur shirt on and gave it to the designers because
It really wouldn't be Mark without a dinosaur
exactly.
shirt, let's be honest.
The only thing you're missing is a thumbs up.
Yeah, that is
really,
next one.
Just a quick.
Yeah.
That's
But
funny.
it's been fun. And even the students that are back this week that were here a couple weeks ago for Gen Cyber Camp, they are still talking about them and they're trying to figure out if there's some they're missing that they can collect. So we'll see how we can use those throughout the year as well as during the camps.
Awesome. So how are you introducing the cyber programming to high schools across South Dakota? How are you kind of, you mentioned, just getting it in front of them so that they know that there's an opportunity there?
Yeah, so in addition to spending a lot of time at conferences or community events and some of those exhibit booth types of things, we really put together, it's building on efforts that the faculty have done for the past 10, 15 years, where they've went out to schools and done a lesson here or or different pieces. And so when I really thought about these enrichment pieces and how we can get into schools, and that's what our K-12 stakeholders were saying too, like they're not necessarily going to sign up for a dual credit course when they haven't had this experience or haven't been exposed to this. And so we talked about this enrichment slate where we've got road shows and we have the classroom takeovers, and then figuring out how we can expand some of our camp experiences and really promoting those. And so through the road shows and the classroom takeovers, that's where we're going to the schools. And maybe it's for 1 hour in one class. Sometimes we've went into one specific teacher's class and done a lesson, that same lesson all day long with different groups of students. And then the roadshow idea where we've really built off this 10 years of phenomenal Gen Cyber camps where those are week long, but we've taken that in like a day of camp and packaging that in a 1 day or a half day where we went to the schools, and then students have cycled through anywhere from 4 to 6 activities with faculty and students where they can get kind of hands-on approach from all the different kind of cyber perspectives and figure out, if that piques their interest, and then really promoting the dual credit courses if that's appropriate, or the camps from there. So, but we know that building that access means we need to get into those schools and not just always expect them to come to us.
The road shows sound exciting.
They're a lot of fun, a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
It's rewarding though, right?
It is,
I mean,
yeah.
getting to go out to the schools and like putting those activities in front of different students.
I love the students. I mean, you get so much energy from those students, as I said earlier, and so it's really fun to connect with them, and then get to see them again, because many of them then came to camp this summer, or they get to see them throughout the year at different events.
Very cool.
Is it nice to see their returning engagement from them, that they're latching on to the programming that you're putting out there?
I think so. Even this morning, when this cyber espionage camp started, there's probably 20 kids or campers that are here this week that I've now met or I know. And so just getting to have a great conversation with them and ask how it's going and building onto that foundation that we've built. That's the part that's really fun now, is it's not everybody's new anymore. We're starting to see it's really that buy-in and that engagement.
Mm-hmm. And can you talk about some of the benefits? You've mentioned the dual credit aspect. The fact that these are program-specific classes, it seems really unique.
In South Dakota it is.
Yes.
Yeah, yep. So when dual credit, here, just a little history of dual credit, but when dual credit originally started, even across the country, it was really designed for those that already knew they were going to college. And the most frustrating part about dual credit to me is when I'm just get your gen eds done, especially as a gen ed teacher in my math teaching background. And so, but that mindset has really shifted to expanding access and to creating that motivation. And then that motivation really comes from giving students exposure to some specific program pathways. So we have a really unique opportunity through the Cyber Academy to get them that program specific exposure and experience through the Cyber Academy classes. We do still see students come in with 30 plus credits. Really that tipping point in the research right now that really shows the positive effect on student outcomes, like going to college and persisting from year to year. And then that GPA outcome in the end is right around 12 credits. So about 4 classes is really where that tipping point is, but there need to not just be these random courses, but this specific set of courses. And so the intentionality of the Cyber Academy is really something that's important, and it's really aligned with best practices in research right now.
I feel like being able to get into more specific courses through dual credit would help a lot of people actually discover what they want to do, and instead of spending thousands of dollars to go to a university and then into a program, and then you're like, I don't like it anymore. I just wasted all that time.
Especially on the cyber and computer science side, we'd love to have them all come here for that. But it's just as important for them to recognize that,
hey, maybe this isn't for me.
But then they can use that because it's going to inform any career they pick up and how they can use that skill set to inform that.
Exactly.
So,
you're still getting that college credit that's still going to count towards something.
Yeah.
Even if you take a different career path.
Exactly.
So you've also mentioned the summer camps. Can you talk about the involvement that you've had in those, and kind of the unique opportunities that come with being able to bring these students to campus for all these really cool hands-on
Yeah.
activities?
That's been fun. I was a camp counselor during the summers when I was in college, and so I always have a special place in my heart for camp. But my capture the flag was much different than the ones that we do here. But with the summer camps, I mean, there's 10 years of some phenomenal Gen Cyber camps that our faculty have run, both with the high school side and the middle school girls side of things. And then this year, when we didn't have funding for Gen Cyber teachers, the Cyber Academy picked that up as a K-12 educator camp. And so trying to keep that going, and we'll figure out how we can continue to support our educators that way. And then identifying where there's new opportunities. And so just this today started our first cyber espionage camp, which is run by faculty out of the cyber leadership program and the College of Arts and Sciences primarily. And so that's been that's a shorter camp, but for high school students as well, and much different. But there's so much engagement right there, and just kind of tapping into that different skill set and interest level. And then I need to be careful about promising this because, but another big gap that we've noted is just for middle school boys. We have a middle school girls camp, and so a middle school boys camp is something that definitely is a priority for next summer that we can figure out in some capacity how we can run something like that. And so I see that the Cyber Academy is supporting the existing camps and really learning from what they've done so well for so many years, and then identifying where some gaps are that we can jump in and help with some additional programming.
Absolutely. And is it fun to get to see then some of your students that you've interacted with for the Governor's Cyber Academy enjoying these camps?
Yeah. Their energy is just crazy. I see that all the time. When they come in, there's just this big smile. It's the highlight of their summer. They're so excited to participate. And I know that you've seen that on your end as well, as you've had a chance to interact with some different marketing pieces. And so it's just, that's the rewarding part, because they are a ton of work. I mean, so much ahead of time. And then in the midst of the camp, you're kind of out of energy at different points, but their enthusiasm and even these students that were here 2 weeks ago that somehow, they found out about cyber espionage and they're here again. And if we had another camp, they'd be here again next week. And so that's what's really fun, is how much it means to them. And I think that's really a big motivator for me.
I love that rewarding feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be some of the highlights from the last year that you'd like to point out?
Yeah, I would say overall, I was just stunned by the dual credit participation and the breadth of participation we got from across the state. And then I think really defining what that enrichment plan looks like and then carrying those out. And so with those the cyber road shows, where that was the camp in a day event, we conducted 5 of those and impacted over 1,000 students. I think altogether, it was about 1,000 students that we interacted with through classroom takeovers or cyber road shows last year. And so getting that framework built was a big highlight, because then we can figure out how to move forward with those and figure out how we can include our rural schools in those cyber road shows as well. So I think that would be the biggest piece. But I feel like really, honestly, the past couple of weeks is where it's really felt like a highlight, as now these names I've seen all year long have now shown up on campus in one form or another. I think there's over 20 of them, and that number I believe is going up, but that's the most current one I have, that took a Cyber Academy class this last year that's now enrolling in DSU next fall for a degree-seeking program. And so seeing how that really is starting to come together, I think that's pretty rewarding, going from this big idea that's been here and been cultivated in different ways for a number of years to really formalizing it and seeing it all come together.
And that's an impressive number for just your first year in to have 20.
Yeah, and I think it's higher, but I need to run the report again, because there was another registration day today. So keeping up on those.
And for people who are interested in the Governor's Cyber Academy, how can they get more information? How can they reach out to you? Is enrollment still available for
Definitely. Please sign up. That's the biggest. Even these students that are here, and I'll talk to them about it, and they're like, I didn't know anything about this. I was like, that's all I talk about. So the best way to get a hold of us is cyberacademy@dsu.edu, just the simple email address. But on the DSU website, we have the Cyber Academy webpage that has some information on it. But then specific questions, routing them through email or that, and that's we need it easier than calling most times, right? But then we can respond and get you as much information as possible.
And what's in store for the future?
I would say a focus, like we're really thinking about it's more than a dual credit class and how we can create that community with these students, especially because a lot of them are the only student or one of just a couple students at their small schools that are interested in this type of field. And so really want to focus on some of those co-curricular activities this next year in terms of if it's Cyber Patriot team that we put together, capture the flag teams, if it's many kind of a research opportunity or kind of a challenge or a competition. So figuring out how we can build out those activities around the dual credit pieces so that they really do have that year-round engagement and kind of that excitement piece that they look forward to in addition to the camps that are coming. So still focusing on those dual credit classes and spreading the word about the academy, but then thinking about how we can continue to make it this really cool experience for students that's pretty comprehensive.
Excellent. Lily, any parting questions?
I had part of one, and then you asked me that, and I don't remember.
I would say just I always want to the Cyber Academy wouldn't be what it is without the buy-in of the faculty and their support and the energy that they provide. And so the success of it is really due to them and their continued willingness to show up at the road shows and to engage with students and to try out new ideas. So I personally am much indebted to them, but very grateful for their willingness to see this out and to make it what it is.
We enjoy it too. We like to go on little field trips to take photos.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you every time.
So we will be right there to support you. So
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening or watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe.